happen.
Everyone's journey is different.
Yeah,
everyone's journey is different for sure. You gotta, appreciate yours. But I mean, I was, looking around and looking online, and I mean, some of the projections you put in yourself, man, god damn. I mean, like 3-time world champion by 18.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt I had the ability to do it. It's just a matter of not really having the opportunity to do it. The problem with being here in first of all in Canada, or in North America, and then being Canada, and then BC. I mean? Yeah. It's just like you're kind of narrowing down the opportunities to even get there. I mean? Like lots of North Americans aren't getting big opportunities. Most, Canadians especially aren't getting opportunities, and being in BC, you really don't get any opportunities when it comes to kickboxing.
Right. Where's the spot to go?
Being in Europe in general is good. Holland is the best, but being just in Europe, even Eastern Europe and that sort of thing, is the best for kickboxing.
Yeah, and I know you spent some time over there or whatever too, but that's a great place to start. Actually, a lot of people, for instance, will be quiet about their goals, quiet about their ambitions, right? Some people will go the complete opposite route, where they'll have social accountability, right? Where they're like, no, I said this, and in 1 year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, I'll be here. And I want that social pressure. What made you go out and be like, hey, you know what? At this time, I'm going to be at this spot. And what made you kind of have that, look at that statement, look at those ambitions and goals and be like, yeah, that's reasonable?
I wasn't really thinking much about it when I first said it. It was just something that I wanted. That was it. It was just something that I figured I could get, knowing my skill set and what I wanted and that sort of thing. That's it, really. It wasn't about any pressure. I didn't really start thinking about the pressure of it until it started getting close to the deadline that I said I wanted to buy, and they're like, oh shit, I kind of said this, and
18 months,
and I'm not doing it. I haven't done it. I haven't got the opportunity to do it. So I didn't really think of it. Nowadays, I'm being a bit more quiet about it, because I'm realizing that things don't always happen exactly how you expected them or how you wanted them to. So it's just sort of growing up, getting a bit mature, and realizing what life is. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, you're sort of a bit naive and think you can just make everything happen. And sometimes there's things that just stand in the way, whether you like it or not. Just the way the world works.
Totally.
So this is what it is.
No, I get it for sure. I think, listen, man, I was talking to Josh Jauncey, who was on the podcast, and I was like, hey, I got an interview coming up with Josh, and he said, I was like, hey, is he the real deal? Because I can see the highlights, and anyone can make themselves look good. And he's like, dude, this guy was knocking out pros at 15, and I was like, oh, like okay, KJ's someone I've grown to love and respect, and so to hear that, I was kind of like, oh, this is the real deal. And guys coming out of Vancouver a lot of the time will put themselves at a higher level than they actually are, and going against it and talking to other pros and guys that run other gyms or whatnot, and be like, no, this is one of the best kickboxers to come out of Canada in the last 10 years. I mean, that's a quote, right? I mean, that's not just me putting fluff up your ass, right? So maybe at 15, these things were reasonable. And these things were kind of like, okay, well, I see where I'm at now. I see where the competition's at. But then again, when you move these, whether that's in Holland, Vancouver, Thailand, these are different worlds. Like this is like, I can see, maybe I'm the best in my gym, best in the province, best in the country. Am I the best in the world? Like to me, that's just a completely another fucking conversation, right?
Well, in my opinion, it wasn't. And to be honest, I think I was probably one of the best in the world by the time when I was that age as well. When I was especially around 18 and that, I think I was probably one of the best 18-year-olds in the world. The trouble is that I didn't get to fight many other 18-year-olds that are also the best around the world, because we didn't have the opportunity to bring them here. Because not many promoters want to fly an amateur kid over to fight. Also, not many promoters want to bring you out, because they want to bring if they're bringing someone out to fight their hometown boy, they want to bring someone out that's going to lose. And I wasn't. Gotcha. I was much too dangerous. I'm still very much a wild card sort of in the kickboxing circuit, because like, sure, I'm beatable. I've been beat, but I can smash you too. You know what I mean? So and for some people, they don't think perhaps my name is big enough that they're going to get that big of a boost from beating me, but they take a big loss from losing to me. You know what I mean? So it's sort of that sort of situation.
It's almost a lose-lose.
Yeah, for them, in their opinion. I mean, no one wants to get beat by a guy from Canada, because sort of in the kickboxing world, there's a bit of a stigma stigma. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess for people from America or North America, they just say America. You know what I mean?
Of course,
they're shit.
We're Americans apparently.
They're shit. You know what I mean? Luckily us, we've changed that. You know, like with Gabriel Varga, myself, Simon Marcus, you know, and a couple other big name kickboxers from Canada. We've actually like done really well. Joe Valtellini
changed the narrative.
Yeah. So a lot of us have changed it for everybody. So now I think people are starting to take it a bit more seriously, Canada. Right. But for a while, it was just the Americans suck. You know, we suck at kickboxing. But
yeah.
But well, I've also got the European blood in me. You know, I'm English.
Right. So, you were born there.
Yeah. Right. And I've trained a lot in Holland, and so they know me in Holland as well. They before even I got into Glory and all that, they see me, you know, with Andy Sauer and all that, and I was going to Holland for years. So they see me popping up on social media and all that sort of thing.
I mean, even your name, even your last name, right? Like your dad's name has a lot of weight, right? I mean, there's not, the bloodline almost speaks for itself in a sense, and then you have a son that comes out that's also a killer. It's not just about the hype; he's actually a killer. But you know what? Those goals that you kind of set up for yourself, like you can set these goals. And I guess what I mean to say is, regardless of whether you're an American or whether you're a Canadian or whether you rep out of Holland, you know, you are, regardless of the bar that you've set for yourself or where the public has set that bar for you, regardless of whether you're hitting these goals or not, you're humble in defeat. You know, like I've seen, you know, interviews where you're like, I was due for a loss, or I needed that, or that was absolutely quintessential to move forward. You're not one of these guys that's like, oh, I should have won that. Yeah. You know, like there's been, I mean, you've had some takedowns which were very super controversial ones where you get hit on the arm or whatnot, right? Where you're just kind of like, and I'll see you, I'm watching your mannerisms, and I'm like, how's he gonna take this, right? And then I'll watch the interviews after, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's very interesting. You're very confident, but you're not high on your ego. You know what I mean? Was that?
Well, I wasn't always
the case.
A good loser, you know. I wasn't always so sportsman. In that situation, I didn't used to be that way. I was really bad before. Really? Yeah, especially in my teenage years, and then a little bit, and then first few as a pro. I was really bad, and it's not. It was mostly directed at myself. I was just angry at myself for letting that happen. Right. But other times it was when I felt it was. I don't know if I got not. No, I mean, yeah, for the most part, it was directed at myself. It was just stupid of me.
It wasn't directed at refs or at coaches?
No, not for the most part. There's been a couple of very close fights that could have gone this way or gone that way, and they went that way instead, and it's like, man, you know what I mean? Like, why did he get lucky and I didn't get lucky? You know what I mean? Because that's really a lot of time what it comes down to. Right. Why did he get lucky and not me? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because there is luck in it. People will say there's not luck in the sport. There's luck in the sport. There's either luck or there's bias. Whatever one you want to choose. You know, I prefer to say it's luck, so because I like to be naive and pretend that all judges and refs are
indifferent and fair.
Yeah, you know. But so I prefer to say it's luck, but maybe it's bias. Who knows? But either way. Yeah, sometimes you're not on the lucky end of the stick, so you gotta kind of just accept it.
If you're fighting out of your Canadian fighter, say you're fighting in Tokyo and you're fighting a Japanese opponent, where are those judges going to be from?
Oh, they'll be Japanese. Damn. Yeah, always. It's sort of a well-known thing that if you fight in Japan, you better go for the knockout. Like really? You have to knock him out. Wow. And you know what? It's funny. A lot of fighters don't actually mind if they lose in Japan. Because as long as it's not by KO or something, but just because they know if they're fighting Japanese in Japan, they're probably going to lose unless they knock him out. And so it's like, but there's something about Japan that just makes you fight so hard. And maybe it's that, or maybe it's just the fact that we all look back to the K1 days, back when like K1, or back when kickboxing was like at the top of its thing, and we all want to be that K1 fighters, so we want to fight hard like them, you know. So I know when I fought there, I fought so hard. I fought really stupid, but so hard. Like
overly aggressive?
Way overly aggressive. Yourself? And I'm not necessarily a big, I'm not like a crazy aggressive fighter. I consider myself more of a counter fighter, and when I see an opportunity, I take it. But with that fight, I just went nuts. But you know, like 3 weeks before that, my granddad had died, and my dog died on the same day. And that was the first time I ever dealt with any sort of death in my family ever. I was fortunate enough that was the only time, but it was both in the same day. So I think I carried that into the fight, and I just went nuts on the guy, absolutely nuts on him. And he was the best in Japan. He's the best in Japan. Fought in K1 and everything before that. And that was my third professional fight. And so I went straight to the top right away. Like I had to fight the top dudes right away.
Your record is really weird. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but it's like if you go, you haven't really had any fluff fights.
No.
I mean, there's no one you've gone up against that is like, oh, this is an easy win.
No, my first professional fight, I was supposed. So in Holland, there's classes. There's classes. So you have like N class, which is your first couple fights. It's just novice class, which is like, it's like a minute and a half round and that sort of thing. Yeah, so it's still, they go for it, but it's like a minute and a half thing. Then they have C class, which is like what amateur is here. So 3 2-minute rounds. And then they have B class, which is like semi-pro, which would be like 5 2-minute rounds. And then they have A class, which is 3 3s or 3 5s.
Right.
Oh, sorry, 5 3s. And that's professional. That's what I do.
5 3-minute rounds. Yeah. But a lot of your stuff will be 3-minute, three threes.
Yeah. So 5 threes is Muay Thai, and how kickboxing started with. And then when K1 came along, they sort of changed it to 3 threes because they started doing tournaments where you would have to fight like 2 or 3 times in one night. So they couldn't do everyone doing 5 rounds 3 times in one night. It's too much. It's just too much, and it wasn't so viewer friendly for the TV. So they started switching it to 3 threes. And so that's how it was in Holland. So my first pro fight was over there in Holland. It was supposed to be a B class. It was not supposed to be A class. It was supposed to be B class.
How old are you?
I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
I'd had 20 amateur fights before that, and then I went to Holland, stayed there for a bit, and then my first fight there was supposed to be B class, but they couldn't find me any B class opponents that would fight me. So, but everyone's like, no, he's A class. Look at him. We've seen him online. He's A class. He's A class. So I was like, okay, so I had to fight an A class guy, and he was from Mike's gym, which is like a top gym over there.
Right. Who else is from Mike's gym?
Bayer.
Yeah.
I fought him there, for Bayer there, and Kopelensky, who I fought this year as well. Top gym. Fought a guy from there, and he had already 7 pro fights as well as my first, and I ended up beating him. Hard fight, but I beat him. That was my first pro, and usually you're supposed to start slowly. Start with guys who aren't the best, you know what I mean? But I started with guys way more experienced than me. And then my second pro fight was against world champion, the Infusion world champion. It was on short notice. I took it on 2 weeks notice. Ended up knocking him out in the first round. So that kind of like, it's like, well, now you're fighting the best in Japan. And then after that, it was like, well, you did really good with the best in Japan. You put him in the hospital.
Here you are.
You lost, but you went to decision with him. You smashed him. You put him in the hospital. You're fine. Guess you're ready you're fighting Glory now.
You're top tier.
And then in Glory, I fought another K1 legend. I beat him too. So just like, very quickly, I was fighting the best.
Very cool.
A lot of guys, they got to kind of like get their learning days under their belt on small events,
or 20 fights,
on small events where they might fight a few southpaws, they might fight a couple guys like this, couple guys like that, blah blah, and they do that on small events that aren't televised and everyone's seeing it. You know what I mean? For me, all of my fights were televised. That everyone was seeing it right away. So a lot of the mistakes that I make now are ones that everybody made, except I'm making it in front of everybody. I'm making it in front of everybody, in front of Giorgio Petrosian, in front of Sidichai, and against them, against the best in the world. Whatever. Totally. It is what it is. You know what I mean? People look at records a little bit. Well, actually, in kickboxing, people don't look at records too badly, I think. But
it's not like boxing.
It's not like boxing, exactly, which I'm thankful for.
Man, what did you pull on that Sidichai one? It was a spinning sideways. I don't know.
In the last round?
I'm super dumb on the terminology.
They call that rolling thunder.
Oh my God.
It's a karate move. I just seen other guys do it, and every so often I do it. Just because in Glory part of the judging requirement or
Scoring?
Yeah, scoring rules is spectacular techniques.
Yeah, talk about it.
So if you're, if I feel like maybe I can win this round with that, I chuck one just in case. You know what I mean? You never know. If it could land, you never know. So
and if it lands,
it's a Hail Mary, but you never know. You give it a go, right?
Yeah, man.
You're fighting for a world title, shoot your shot. Right? Exactly.
Shoot your shot, dude.
Exactly.
100%. There's maybe like two moments in every one of your fights where you pull out something and the crowd is like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, did he just do that? And I'm sitting there as a viewer, and that's new to kickboxing. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So like, that's legitimate. He just did that in a title fight. Like that. Like that's.
I always give it a go. I always give it a shot because, you might land it, and
if you do, oh my god,
I can do it. You know what I mean? That's a thing. Like a lot of guys can't do these things. I can do these things, so why not give it a go?
If you can do it on a high level, fucking execute that. Oh my god, I would 100%.
I was watching the clip the other day of someone posted of it, and I could have done it so much better too, but it was it is what it is.
Looked flawless with me. I don't know that whatever, but sure.
I could have landed. I could have done it if I could have landed if I did something a little bit different. But
it was in the
next time.
It was in the third round. You might be a little tired.
Fifth.
Oh, excuse me.
That was my first time going 5 rounds, or having a 5-round fight as a pro.
Yeah.
And but he threw a kick and I slipped back. And I waited a second, then I did it.
Yeah.
But when he threw the kick, I should have slipped it and it went straight from there immediately and into it, and that would have maybe caught him. But he's a top fighter. There's no doubt. After the fight, I went into the back and I was like, "Man, he's a good fighter." My brother, he mentioned it. He's like, "It's the first time you've ever said someone's a good fighter."
Wow.
And I was like, that's true, because almost every time I fought, whether it was the first time I fought Sidichai or when I fought Petrosian, who's also like. He is like the best, and even when I fought him after, I was like, he's shit. Like he's shit. I was like, that was my problem. I should have done better.
Yeah, you beat yourself. He didn't beat me.
Yeah, that's how I felt, because I was like, when he hit me, it didn't hurt. Nothing. He's shit.
How did I lose that?
I mean, like, it's not that I knew I lost it, but it's like he's not that good. I've defeated myself there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's hilarious.
After fighting Sidichai twice, and now dropping 2 decisions to him, I'm like, okay, he's good. He's not flawless. And he's definitely beatable, but he's not. He is good. He knows how to play the game. That's the thing, and that's what you notice when you get to the top level, is that people know how to play the game.
Dude.
They know how to play the judges. They know how to play the crowd. They know how to take breaks when they want to take breaks.
Yeah.
Me, I skipped all of that when I got to this level. I skipped all those learning things, and I still just fight. I go there, I just fight, and that's it. I don't know those stupid little tricks. I just fight.
You don't need them. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm just raw, and if at the end of the fight, I'm honest with myself, If I think I lost, I'm like, shit. I'm not going to pretend like I won, because I know it. I'm honest with myself. Yeah. And a lot of these guys, they lie, and it gets them the decisions, you know what I mean? And so I need to do stuff like that. I need to be a little more dishonest, with myself.
Yeah, you'll be able to sleep. You'll be able to sleep at night, when you're 90 and say, you know what, at the end of the day, I played it fair.
Yeah.
Played it fair.
When, it's, in all sports, there's people who are going to find every little way to be, to get advantages and stuff like that. For me, it's always just been the legit ways to try to get advantages.
Get a win, get a knockout, whatever it is.
Yeah. Get trained properly and all that. But
get on the scorecard. It's so funny when I sit down with like super high level athletes, and you talk about guys that are literally widely regarded as the number 1 and number 2, kickboxers in the world. And you're like, I mean, he's good. He's not flawless. He's all right. I could have beat him. Like, he's got this, and that wrong with him. I'm just kind of looking at you like, man, what the hell? And that's when you're like, all right, well, I'm sitting down with someone that's widely regarded as a contender, for the belt. And so it's like, well, okay, now you're starting to peek into what a champion's mind is like a little bit. You're starting to peek into like, okay, how does he pull back the curtain on a person? How does he dissect that? Okay, well, yeah, he may be, these guys from Thailand are fighting from 6 years old. When they're starting, Sidichai's record is 130 something to 20 something, right? That's an insane number. And you're looking at him like, he's not super experienced. He's not perfect. He's not flawless. I can still decode that. Yeah. So you went and you fought this man twice, and he successfully defended the belt 6 times. I might be making that number up, something like that.
Around that, yeah.
Around 6 times. And so from my mind as a fan, I'm looking at that like, I don't know, Josh. He looks pretty damn flawless. Like, Guys have picked him apart a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's still standing there with that belt. You know, would you ever go back and try to pick him apart a third time?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. We already want to try to get another fight with him, another rematch, because there was a lot of things in that fight that weren't particularly fair.
How so?
Well, I mean, the knockdown in the second round.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you know, okay, it started.
But it wasn't scored as a.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
of
gosh.
course. That's why you got 10-8 that round.
Oh.
So there's a few things. So you can see straight from the get-go, he was expected to win. Why? I'm saying this before the fights even started.
Right.
If you watch the stream event, they've got cameras over in his hometown, watching his people's reaction.
Yeah.
So they had no one here. We had 50
Yeah.
people here at the gym watching
way.
my fights, maybe more. And they didn't have no cameras here.
Yeah.
So they obviously weren't planning on filming it if he lost. They weren't going to film everyone's reactions being upset that he lost.
Yeah.
So they already expected him to win, to be winning. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's one. 2, round 1. It's quite clear that I won round 1. I outpointed him and everything. They gave it to him.
Yeah.
Round 2, he clearly won, no problem. But he gave me the knee on the arm. They counted it as a knockdown.
Yeah. That round.
That's not a knockdown. Yeah, he still won the round 10-9,
Yeah.
but he didn't win it. He didn't win it 10-8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. Round 3, or wait, before that, going into round 3, he took a 30-second extra break
Saw that.
to get. They're saying, "Oh, my mouth guard. This is the oldest trick in the book."
Yeah, he lost his mouth
This
guard.
is the oldest trick in the book. Back when Muhammad Ali, can't remember who was fighting. I think it was either Joe Frazier or George Foreman. I can't remember. What was it? It was one of his really big fights.
Sure.
His coach cut a hole in his glove and ripped it and said he's got a hole in his glove. He needs a new glove because he was tired. Get him a new glove. You know, so so the mouth guard is the easiest one you can do.
Right.
His whole corner. Oh, where's the mouth guard? Where's the mouth guard?
Yeah,
it's the same guy who had it last round.
Yeah, no
it's
shit.
the same guy who's gonna have it next round. It's the same guy who's had it
For
the
the
whole
last
time.
100 fights.
Exactly, and he pushed himself in round 2, so he was tired coming into round 3.
Yeah.
He was breathing hard. I could see him breathing out of his mouth. So they're doing that, get an extra, and 30. So for us, we train for a minute break. Most of the time we're in training, we do 30-second break, right?
So a minute feels like the
so
longest time.
So a minute we try and make it take as long as we can. An extra 30 seconds on that is a big deal. You can really recover there.
Yeah.
That's how we're trained. We're trained for that. So, so he got an extra 30 seconds, no penalization.
Nothing.
And then, round 3 was quite obvious that I won that too. Gave it to him. Round 4 was his for sure.
Yeah.
Round 5 was.
Could have gone either way.
It could have gone either way. I accepted. They gave it to him, no problem.
Even the announcers, like you can always tell. I love the way announcers call fights, right? Like even when he lost his mouth guard,
they pointed it at me. They said, "Oh, I bet Josh is enjoying this break." No, man, I'm in the center of the ring. They didn't put the camera on me. I was in the center of the ring, going, "Where is it? Come on, that's a point. You're taking too long. Fight me right now." I was screaming at him. They didn't give it. They didn't say nothing. They didn't even put the camera on me.
Totally just went over it.
So I was ready to fight. He was not ready to fight.
It's a dirty game, but there's a lot of writing on it. And listen, I understand these. Like I understand your motivation, but I also respect a clean fighter. And across all sports and just across everything you do in life, like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? If you're gonna cheat there, you might cheat another place.
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly. And and I don't want to seem like a sore loser because I did lose that fight.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that it was pretty close. When you look at the scores, it was very close. Or the punch stats, it was very close.
Yeah.
I felt like he won it. So, but I think I did enough to warrant a rematch.
Absolutely.
Because I think I probably gave him the hardest he's had in Glory, aside from a loss to Robin.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think I gave him the hardest fight he's had in Glory. So why shouldn't I get a rematch?
And I think within the community, everyone and him, he's been quoted as saying this. I'm not worried about I'm worried about Josh. Yeah. I'm not worried about this guy or that guy. Like there's one guy I'm worried about, and that's the guy I'm fighing.
And he said that 2 or 3 years ago. He said that again recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got word of it that he's always keeping a close eye on me.
Of course.
And, I don't really focus on stuff like that, but it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice for my trainers to know, that's for sure. They're like, okay, we know we've got him. We've got him sort of in a place where he's a bit worried.
Yeah,
right?
and he should be. And guys get complacent when they get to that level, right? You've defended your belt that many times; it's hard to stay motivated, right?
Yeah.
But it's widely regarded. You're currently the number 4 ranked lightweight in the world.
I think so.
Number 4 or something like that. You don't pay attention to that.
No, I don't look at the rankings anymore. They're bullshit. They're bullshit. The judges, the rankings, they don't know how to rank. It's like I beat 2 of the top dudes. I'm ranked above them, and then all of a sudden, one of them is going to be fighting before me, and then they put him higher than me, even though I just beat him, just to make it look better that he's a higher ranked.
Right.
They just switch things around as they please for marketing purposes.
What's the business of it like a little bit? Like when, for instance, like the UFC has gotten tons of flack for the way their journalists do up the rankings and whatnot. There's top 20 guys that are not in the top 20, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and just to market fights or to serve certain demographics or whatever. Is it similar in glory, or what's the business like there?
I don't know. They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing, and yeah. Well, I can't. I don't.
Can't really speak on it?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know too much, but. I do know sometimes the things are switched when they shouldn't be. But it is, like I said, I don't follow the rankings very much. When I'm champion, then that's where I know I am. When I've got a belt and I'm the champion, I'm the champion. That's what matters. But after that, it doesn't matter. I know who I'm beating. I know who I beat, and all of that. And you have to be honest with yourself, right? You have to be honest with yourself, and it doesn't matter what all of that's happening. It's you know what you've done, right? So.
You definitely seem like a guy that's gone through a lot of personal growth in a way. I mean, fighting will do that to you. Yeah. Obviously. But someone that's, I remember watching early stuff. I don't know how old you were, but the energy and the confidence and the ego was like so apparent. And now you still have that flair, like you coming out to Queen and different stuff. You still have that energy and that youthfulness, but you're very much composed in it versus earlier in your career, you might have been a little flamboyant and whatnot, right? And of course, you've taken your losses along the way. You've got humbled along the way. But you know what? I just think it speaks so much to your level of self-awareness, right? Did you have any moment that was just like, shit, I need to sit the fuck down, look at myself in the mirror and say, what now? You have any of those moments?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, pretty much after every loss that's happened. Right. For the most part, unfortunately, none sunk it in quite as hard as when I lost by TKO in July 2017.
Right.
Then then it was like, okay, you gotta stop. You gotta figure something out here. Something's not right what you're doing here, and. Because one, the opponent wasn't as good as guys I've fought before, and not to take anything away from him, he's obviously good enough to put me down. You know what I mean? But for the most part, that was me. I've said, like I said earlier, that was me. That was all me, just definitely overlooking him. I totally overlooked him, and. I thought I was going to walk through him, and I didn't, and that was my bad. That was really stupid. And I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even look at my mum, and she's the most supportive person I know, and I couldn't look at anybody. I was walking with my head down, and I was in New York City, and I know no one's going to recognize me in New York City, but I was just afraid that someone might see my face. You know what I mean? Yeah. And but that was that. So after that fight, I took some time off. And then I came back with a vengeance, and I came back and I won 3 in a row immediately, and I beat 2 top 5 guys, including a guy I'd lost to before, and then that's what put me in line for the title shot, right? Totally. Like so, it was one year exactly that I came back completely from that, and.
So what changes did you have to make there when you sat back down and you're like, okay, let's reevaluate what I did wrong. How do I proceed?
A lot of the things were day-to-day things. Okay. Just day-to-day. Don't, like I started so normally I'd train twice a day. Right. But for the first training of the day, I'd probably get up around 9 o'clock or so, and then just come, I'd try to push it right to the limit of how far I could sleep, and then come here, do pads with my brother, and then go home, that sort of thing. Right. And then, go home, relax for a bit, not eating particularly, and not often enough or well enough. Yeah, clean. And then coming back, training again for an hour, and then going back home, staying up till 3 in the morning, doing
video games, whatever. YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, watching movies, that sort of thing. Yeah. So, things that were not conducive to a champion's
world
lifestyle.
Champion.
I mean? So that had to stop. So then I started trying to get more sleep. I organized it with all my training partners here that we're here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Every morning we do technique every morning. We work on stuff every morning. Then we do pads after, and we do a proper like 2-hour session at least in the morning.
You're still doing technique? Like you still working on those fundamentals?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a foundation?
All the time.
Wow.
Because I mean, there's different combinations you want to do, but also just keeping sharp with just the basic stuff. That's what people don't understand, man. Like people come to my class and they start coming. They've been doing class, beginners class for 2 months. Like, hey, when can I start doing the advanced? I got the basics down. I was like, you don't have the basics down, man. I don't even have the basics down.
Right.
You've never got the basics down. Then they're not down. But people think, I got the basics down. You don't have the basics down at all. And it takes a long time to get there.
Right.
It takes a long time. It's forever. It's a forever thing. You have to be working the basics all the time.
Constantly. It never gets easier. You just keep on. You just get better.
Yeah. And then sometimes you need someone else's eyes to go, hey, do you realize you were doing this? Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I got to switch. I got to change that a little bit now too.
I mean, that's what a coach is for.
Yeah.
I mean, you're lucky enough to have one of the best ever as a father, as a coach. And I mean, maybe you can speak a little bit on that. You have had, this is very much a family dynamic. This is very much a family business. You guys are all very close. I just seen you guys today at what tournament were you guys at today?
We had it was like the first of from Battlefield, which is a MMA organization around here. They did like I don't know what to call it. Yeah, it's just sort of like a tournament for like the new
guys
wave of guys coming up, I guess.
Totally.
So it was just all kickboxing, no MMA or anything like that, just kickboxing and gave 1 minute rounds, that sort of thing. But it was good. It was really good.
I mean, even with that, I mean, you're there, your dad's there, your brother's there. This is very much a family environment. You have guys coming up underneath you. How are you trying to, and we just talked before the podcast a little bit where you were saying, this guy is he's very technical and the way he's taking losses is similar how I used to take losses and whatnot. Do you see your fingerprints on these young guys coming up? Do you see them trying to emulate you at all?
I don't know if they're emulating me or we just have similar ways, or we've just been taught in a similar way, you know what I mean?
Right.
When it comes to how someone takes a loss and that's their personal way of being, because most people they haven't seen the way I take a win or a loss.
Right, but you might attract that type of person.
Maybe, but like all the kids there, they were different. All of them reacted differently to a win and to a loss. They all won something, they all lost something, and they all acted different. But that's just the way, that's their personality. That's the way their personality. And I don't really know what's right, what's the best way to be, and there's been people who lose a fight and they're, oh no, that was so much fun. And that was me, my first fight. I lost my first fight when I was 9, and I was still the most fun I ever had.
Your first amateur fight at 9.
Yeah.
Blows my freaking mind.
That was the most fun I ever had. But at that age, all I wanted to do was to be in front of people and perform.
Right.
I just wanted to, even before that, whenever we went to kickboxing events, especially when I was even younger, I would just, during intermission, I would jump up in the ring. And I'd be doing flips and cartwheels and have that crowd cheering for me.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting. I wasn't, I'm just doing fun.
You're putting on a show.
Yeah. And so that's what it felt for me on that fight as well. But as I got older, and if I had fights that weren't, either I won, but it was just not a good performance, or I lost, I reacted much differently than that. It wasn't about fun anymore. It was about smashing the dude.
Yeah, it was about winning.
You know what I mean? It's about winning. It's about getting to that next level. And he's got it already.
He's got it in him. I like it. Is that what's that dynamic working with your dad? I mean, to me personally, I would hate to have a father as a coach, because I couldn't, I view sports as like we have home and then we have work, and this is where I'm going to work. Like I don't want any family shit in here. Like you might be my family in terms of we're going to war together, but when I go home, I want to go home, and when I'm at the gym, I want to be at the gym 100%. I don't want to worry about the conversation that we just had at the dinner table that I disagreed over, what type of, macaroni we're having. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to bring that here. I don't even want that to be close. I want to completely just differentiate that. Was that an issue at all?
Well, we don't have disagreements at home anyway, so we never do. Yeah. So that never played a factor.
I mean,
I understand. So I'm more like that with my mum. Like I prefer my mum not to be around when I have a fight, even though she's like a big part of it anyway. She's always been a big part of it, and she's always helped me with nutrition. She's also a fitness instructor and all that. So when I was younger, she would help me with some weights and that sort of thing.
God, you got the gene pool, man.
Yeah, exactly. So she's a big part of it, but I prefer to not have her around during fight time. You know, it's like her or
girlfriends at all or anything like that? No,
I don't have them around either. Like I don't. If I've got a girlfriend, as I do right now, I don't want her around before the fight.
Right.
Even that during the fight, I'm not too thrilled about it.
I'm not too thrilled about it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like my girlfriend on my last fight with Sidichai, she came, but she surprised me, so I didn't know she was there.
And you probably hated that.
She didn't. I didn't know she was there.
Right.
During the fight. During the fight.
Okay.
It was only till after the fight she came up and like, oh hey, you're here. That was okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Because you didn't know.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's probably something I need to get over anyways. But
what is that in your mind? What mechanism is that in your mind?
well, because that's the only time I'm soft is when I'm with my girlfriend, you know what I mean? That's the only time I'm not. Yeah, it's the only time I'm soft and I'm vulnerable, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the week of the fight. That's not when I'm going to be. Why I want to be soft or vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when I'm being. I'm just.
You're quite literally a gladiator, so you probably don't want your spouse or your girlfriend or your mom there when you go to war.
Exactly, and also these people like that. I mean, especially women, they wear their heart on their sleeve, right? So you see the emotions a lot more. I can pick up on my mom's emotions
like that.
It's very easy to see when she's worked up or nervous or something. I know her so well. With my dad and that, they can hide that quite well. My dad and my brother, they can hide it quite well. I can still see when my brother's nervous, but that kind of when he's nervous, it kind of boosts me.
Yeah.
I know he's feeling the same thing as me, and he wants it just as bad as I want it. So it kind of like
big brother, little brother.
Older brother.
I'm
the youngest.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You're the youngest?
I'm the youngest, yeah.
No way.
There's 4 of us, I'm the youngest.
Wow. Are all of them fighters? No.
No. Just my brother, he fought a little bit, but he's...
God, thank God you have some sane people in your family.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm the only one who still fights. And
man.
he wants it just as bad as I want it. He wants the best for me just as much as I want.
Totally.
I want to win as well. So I can feel that as well. But my dad, he's really relaxed guy, So
competitors usually are.
Yeah.
Like just in general, like your mannerisms in the past 2 hours here has just been very like relaxed, calm, peaceful. You're not too worried about this, that, or the other. You're just kind of going through it. I guess there's something about going through, putting yourself directly in harm's way or in situations of extremely high stress, whether that be socially with the amount of people that are watching you, TV, family, or whether that be physically with, I might get my face, knocked in today, right? Everything else in life just kind of seems to be like...
Well, you start seeing... Well, yeah, it's by comparison. It's just like, there's no reason to get angry or get worked up here. It's like, it always confuses me as to when people get crazy road rage and stuff. I'm like, hey, maybe that person just made a quick mistake.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
You never made a mistake?
Yeah.
You've never done something stupid while driving? I know I have.
Yeah.
Maybe too many times. I don't know, but I've done it. Oh shit, sorry. I know what I did wrong. You know what I mean? So people going nuts and stuff like that. So relax, man.
There's the Canadian in you.
But it's just like, but I've seen a lot of Canadians just crazy when it comes to people on the road. Like, hey man, chill.
Yeah.
And people who always want to prove something and always trying to act like a tough guy or something. Just relax, man.
Yeah,
like,
don't worry about it.
What do you have to prove?
Does it really matter that person just cut you off?
No, and does it matter that someone thinks you're tough or not? Because if you feel that you have to show people you're tough, you're probably not doing anything in life that proves you are tough. You know what I mean? And why does it matter? It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what
stop
I mean?
it.
So it's just... there's no reason to be worked up about it.
People be like, oh man, I'm stealing this from Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan was like, someone will come up to me and they'll be super mad about something I said on a podcast or something I said on a show or on whatever, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, dude, who didn't pick you for dodgeball in 5th grade? Like, what's going on? Like, can we talk about you for a second? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or I see that like typical. I see that online all the time now. I see it on Instagram. I see it on Facebook. Where someone just get triggered and just pounce. And you're like, whoa, hold on, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
What's going on here, right?
I don't go on Facebook anymore because of it.
Because of that?
Like, I only go on Facebook now when I have to for posting stuff or something for fights or whatever. Because otherwise I don't go on it because people on Facebook are just and I'm not saying towards me, I'm just saying like friends, looking at friends on Facebook, it's just like, you guys need to relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times they're not like that in real life.
Of course
they're
not.
just like
you
that
can't,
on Facebook.
No,
you know
can't be like that in real life.
And it's just like, man, wait, what type of image are you trying to put to yourself to everybody else, and why are you putting that? Why you want to give people that impression of you?
That right? You're that angry, spirited person, right? I don't get it.
And so I don't understand it. And I think most fighters would agree it doesn't make much sense. And most fighters you'll see are quite relaxed as well.
You find that dynamic with other fighters? They're very much kind of.
It depends. It depends if they're real ones or not. You know what I mean? Like a lot of fighters you'll see here, or around, especially beginning pro or amateur, they talk a lot and they're not relaxed.
Yeah.
Why? Because they haven't really experienced the reality of it. You know what I mean? And they probably only started when they were 20, and they don't understand the whole thing of it. You know what I mean? Like they haven't got that confidence yet of to just be relaxed and not have to prove something to everybody else.
Yeah, the insecurities. Yeah, totally. Even when you go up against those world-class fighters, I mean, you don't have, for instance, like I make fun of WWE all the time. I make fun of UFC and stuff like that because there's the showboating. So this, like, I'm no longer watching an athletic event. I'm now watching a sitcom, right? And you're just taking me through different scenes in the sitcom. And to me, it's fugazi. It's neither here nor there. And I understand the business. I understand you need to sell tickets. I didn't see that so much in the press for Glory and whatnot. There wasn't like these huge storylines and
they
narratives.
want it to happen though.
But I don't see it. I don't see it in the fighters.
No, because that's what kickboxers aren't like that.
Right.
I can't remember when it was exactly. Maybe it was 2011. It was before that. Definitely before that. They had a contender. Remember the show Contender, the boxing one?
Okay, yeah.
Well, they had a Contender Asia, which was Muay Thai.
Right.
And they had all these fighters living in a house together, training together. They were all cool. They were all cool with each other. There was no drama.
Yeah.
It maybe happened. They maybe only had 2 seasons, and then it just died off because there was no drama. There was one guy in one of the seasons that were making drama, and everyone just hated him, and that was it. And then they beat him, and they kicked him away, and it's done.
Yeah, because it wasn't that good.
And then after that, I was like, "Hey, I'm fighting you next week," and then they were cool about it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's just cool, and they're probably closer friends now because they lived together for a while doing the show.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's just like the sort of the Muay Thai and the kickboxing mentality just isn't quite like that.
Very respectful.
It's respectful. It's like I said, it's relaxed. You know what I mean? It's just cool. You know what I mean? Everyone's just cool with each other for the most part. There's obviously some dickheads where it's different, but for the most part, everyone's just cool. And
I love it.
I mean, but before fights, like even now, no one's giving each other dirty looks from across the hotel dining room or something like that. No one's being there. Everyone's like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" You shake each other hand, and it's just normal. It's just
a bit of tension. Yeah, for sure. You're almost business partners. I don't know. Like you're almost in a way where it's like I stand to benefit just as much from you. In a sense, or maybe actually I don't even know the business side of it. So for instance, like I know in the UFC, your purse will go up if you do win or how you win, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is that similar to kickboxing at all?
Yeah. If you win,
is it like double, triple, or is it? Can you give me an example?
I wish.
Yeah.
But no, not usually.
Yeah.
No, but it goes up the more you win, and all that. But it's not like UFC. UFC is another animal when it comes to money. But it goes up the more you win and that sort of thing. And and not to say there's no animosity between anybody. There is.
Of course.
There's tension and that sort of stuff. There's a bit of tension between people. And there's some guys you just don't like and some guys you don't mind and that sort of thing. But I don't know.
For the most part.
I think also a big part of it with kickboxing is that everyone's quite aware of how good the other guy is. So they're like, everyone's quite good. You know what I mean? You don't get to the top level by being crap.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody wants to talk too much crap because they know the guy's actually quite good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also there's not much incentive. There's not much incentive. You know what I mean? It's like we're not getting parts of pay-per-view sales. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. So it's like, who am I doing it for?
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about not getting a piece of these different like promotional and marketing avenues? Like I know there's a lot of other sports, for instance, like in the NBA, the TV deal goes up. All of a sudden, everybody gets paid more, right? Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Happens. Yeah, like for instance, like LeBron went from, I don't know, I'm making these numbers up, 20 million to 30 million because the NBA got a new TV deal, and it's clearly not the same in combat sports and in kickboxing in particular.
I mean, it could be in boxing, it could be in MMA.
Yeah, I don't know for boxing or
kickboxing is just not big enough.
Just not
big enough there, yeah. For that to happen, and for some guys it will be that way. Maybe for like Rico Verhoeven, who's the heavyweight champ, he's a proper star in Holland.
Right.
Like he's now on like he'll make appearances on sitcoms and be on TV shows. And he just did like a voiceover for a Pixar movie and stuff, like the Dutch version, you know. So he's becoming a proper star. So maybe he's getting pieces of that. But I know I haven't done those things to get to that point because I just focus on the fighting at this point. You know, like. Yeah, all I focus on is getting to becoming champion. That's all I focus on right now. I don't want to focus too much on other things. The times when I focus too much on that and I haven't fought the best, which is kind of what happened. Like when I lost to that guy in New York, it was just like because I took him so lightly. I was doing a little bit of the talking and that and blah blah blah. And then what happened? Well, it didn't go my way. So I was like, man, let's focus on knocking this dude out. You know what I mean? And then once I found my what's the word? My way, my sort of my recipe. Yeah. Then we start doing it. You know what I mean? Totally. I mean, then we start messing with them a little bit more.
Very interesting. Very interesting. The business plan from different organizations changes so drastically. Like a lot of people, average fans, will say, "Oh, you're inside a ring. It's all the same." No, 100% not. There's been a lot of, for instance, maybe in the popularity, you kind of have WWE, and then you have MMA, and then kickboxing is down here. But when I watch a kickboxing fight, I'm almost more entertained. Like I think it's maybe a more entertaining sport.
Most people I talk to say that, and if you talk to most people about UFC. Like especially casual people,
right?
They're like, I hate when it hits the ground. You know, they complain about the jiu-jitsu and all that sort of stuff. So what you want to see? You want to see stand-up.
Yeah.
So you want to watch stand-up. You want to see guys knee each other, kick each other, punch each other. Yeah. You want to see knockouts. You probably should watch kickboxing.
Yeah. But yet you can't. You can't just go to a bar and see kickboxing.
No, it's they never show glory here.
Crazy.
But also, why would they when you can't see it here? You know what I mean? Like you can't see. There's no big kickboxing events here.
I mean, it's illegal.
Exactly.
Wrong, right?
Yeah. So professional kickboxing is illegal. So there's no opportunity for people to see top level. They only see two amateurs slugging it out, which is kind of just
meh.
Yeah, it's not serious.
It's not high level.
It's the people going to see that are like their friends from the office and that sort of thing coming to see them do their little side gig, which is something they like to do on the side, you know.
Totally.
Or it's their family and friends coming to see it, but it's not. You don't see regular people coming to see it like you might at a hockey game where you've got everybody there, everybody who can they just love hockey.
Oh yeah. Or people don't even like hockey, they'll still go there, right? Yeah.
And then also here because you're not allowed to be professional kickboxer, you're not allowed to fight professionally here. There's not much incentive for younger kids to want to build into that.
Right.
You know, like so. It's not like they're not seeing me on the news or me on TV or me on this and being like, man, there's a pro kickboxer and man, he's doing well, he's cool, blah blah blah, and seeing that. Like in Holland, you see that.
Right.
You see there's Badr Hari, Remy Bonjasky. Ernesto Hoos, Peter Ertz, Andy Sauer, all that. Like these guys are on TV, like and Rico Verhoeven and Nicky Holskin. They're on TV regularly, and they're athletes. They're athletes. They're on TV just like a soccer player is on TV.
Yeah.
You know, and they're athletes that these kids look up to and stuff. And here we don't have any of that. It's just who you have at the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if we had the opportunity for me to fight here and stuff like that, then I could get more kids interested, and that also. Translates to, less kids being on the street doing stupid shit, which is a problem as well.
100%.
Right? And you can get them in the gym instead. It's better.
Yeah.
Right? It's better if they want to be pro kickboxers. It's better than being gangsters.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but because it's illegal here, we don't get that opportunity.
Right.
And then that. because of that, there's a lot of things. I'm sure Glory would be here if it was not illegal. We could promote, and we could promote new up and coming talent as well as myself in BC, and there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of kickboxing talent here.
Really?
But they'll switch to MMA or boxing.
Wow.
Because there's no point for them.
See, to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would you have boxing and MMA both be completely legal and promoted, and then kickboxing is this sort of redheaded stepchild in the corner? I mean, I can say that with a grain of salt, because I mean, you know, you've been on Global BC and stuff like that. Like, you have been featured, but you're not prominent, where a lot of these top MMA guys are like legitimate stars, right? Versus like you have like anybody in kickboxing is gonna know who you are in Canada. Like anybody, period, right? But you have to be tuned into that. It's not publicized.
No, exactly.
I think you're leaving, like, as a province. Like, you know, I come from a business background, so as a province, I think you're leaving tons of money on the table. Number one, you're also, again, kind of taking people out of an opportunity. Kids are not going to have the opportunity to get kids in here and punching a bag rather than, you know, knock people, right? And learning what respect is and how to carry yourself and how to be humble in defeat. From a coaching standpoint, these lessons go on and on and on and on. I mean, they're limitless. I mean, if I never played sports as a kid, I would be an asshole. Like 100%.
Oh, for sure. And that's part of the reason why I enjoy getting on like Global and stuff like that. Totally. Not because I like to publicize myself, but because I like to show that fighters aren't meatheads. And we are like
I love how you hold yourself.
Most fighters from around here, like there's like, I don't know if you know Jeremy Kennedy.
Okay. Oh yeah.
He fought in the UFC. Now he's fighting on some other big international events. And he'll probably end up being on UFC again at some point. He's barely gotten any credit since he's been, and he was fighting on world stages and stuff. And he's a super nice dude. He's he's not getting into street fights. He's not a meathead. He's a nice dude. Totally. For the most part, all of us, not so all of us, but 90% of fighters, they're good dudes. They're good people. They're smart. But people in the government and stuff like that, and older people, they just think fighters, they're idiots, they're ugly, they're stupid. And why would they fight when they can do something better with their life? They must be idiots. And that's why I like to get a bit of publicity, just to show I'm not.
Totally.
I'm not. I'm a normal guy. And I can speak well and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And I like to show that. I think that might change the opinion of fighters a little bit, but we don't get the opportunity. And like I said, it's not just for kickboxing. It's MMA as well. They're just not getting the eyes that they should to be able to change the vision of this, the idea of what fight sports are.
Right. Every single combat fighter I've ever talked to is held themselves incredibly well. Incredibly well. I mean, credit to the coaches, right? Credit to the coaches. I love how you held yourself on Global in terms of just even the way you presented yourself, the way you spoke, the way you articulated ideas. I mean, it completely. Even my perception, that was one of the first things I ever saw from you. I was like, wow.
Well, Global morning television is probably going to be a bunch of old people watching.
100%.
And then, I even got messages like, hey, my parents saw you on Global. Well, they didn't expect the fighter to be like that.
Of course.
I'm like, yeah, well, maybe we can have a chat one day. You know what I mean? People don't expect it. They expect an idiot, a meathead, tattoos everywhere and a mohawk or something. Like, no, man, it's not who I am.
I mean, even when we got connected just to do this podcast, I was like, he's not going to want to do it. Like, what does he have stand to gain to come and articulate his thoughts and deep dive on what he's going? Why would he want to do that? And that's just me being, a stupid guy in the general public, essentially. And you start to look in, I see how this guy's handles himself and how he's writing online and how he's speaking online at these different spots and even in the interviews and whatnot. Like, and I know you understand you have a lot of eyeballs on you and you're a very, very, maybe the most prominent figure in this community, for sure. And I know that a lot of young guys are looking up to you. Is that something that you, like these kids in the gym here, when we came in, we saw a lot of guys working out, and I know you guys have a lot of clientele in here all the time. Are you cognizant on how your even day-to-day mannerisms are, or are you thinking about that?
A little bit. For the most part, I'm just being myself. But when I come to the gym and that sort of thing, I definitely try to make sure I try to make sure I'm on time and stuff like that, and practicing what I preach. You know what I mean?
Of course.
you know, with exceptions sometimes. But you know, I try to practice what I preach, and it's the same. Like, you know, if I were to go out on the weekends, I'm not going out and getting belligerently drunk and that sort of thing. You know, it's not happening. You know, I don't. First of all, it's not what I do anymore. Maybe when I was 19, but not anymore.
Yep.
You know, but also it's just like I don't want to bump into someone and they're like, man, you see Josh the other day? You know, like I wouldn't want that to happen. Like, you know, you're a professional and I want to be a world champion, but I carry myself that way. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Sort of, you have to. This is fairly recent for me to be more this way. Where, you know, I was like, yeah, okay, there are some people. It took some people to come up to me on the street and be like, hey, Josh Jauncey, right? And, you know, like, oh shit, like some people actually know me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should behave like I should. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just a learning curve, and I think there's some fighters who don't, or some athletes and stuff that don't see that. They always see themselves as just who they always were, and I still see myself like that. But it's just like sometimes you got to watch out just a little bit. You know, like guys like John Jones and stuff, and it's like you can't. He didn't realize how famous he was, and he's famous. He didn't realize it or something.
Household name.
Because he's you know, he didn't realize it, so he's doing stupid stuff that he shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, hey, live your life. Yeah. I mean, don't live for other people. So if you're happy doing it, then go for it. You know what I mean? Whatever, you're still winning.
Yeah.
He's still winning. He's cheated though, so I don't know. But he's, you know,
different conversation.
Yeah.
Different conversation for sure. And he's not the only one. But I want to jump back actually a little bit, because to me, I'm just so puzzled when I look at the legislation in BC. Why this thing isn't legal? I just don't get it. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. So it doesn't really. Well, it makes sense, but it's just stupid. It's basically when they were passing the law for professional combat sports, boxing is popular. MMA is popular. Yeah. Kickboxing not so much. And MMA was just getting popular when they started passing this. Kickboxing, no one just thought of it. Everyone was only thinking about boxing and MMA. They weren't thinking of kickboxing. No one. Oh, how about kickboxing? They didn't say. No one said that.
Yeah.
They were okay. We're talking about MMA. We're talking about boxing, and they wrote those two things down. They didn't specifically write kickboxing and Muay Thai. They didn't write it. So because it's not specifically said there, they assume it's not allowed.
Wow.
But you can't do MMA without doing kickboxing or Muay Thai. You can't do it. It doesn't work. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, pretty much, Muay Thai is standing MMA. You could call it. You know.
Absolutely.
But because it's not, so it's all a matter of how it was read by the commission.
When was this set out?
I can't remember what year, but it was just after I went pro, because I went pro in Holland, and I think I want to say around five years ago.
Wow, really recent.
Maybe? Yeah, recent. Because before, like for a while, it didn't matter because there was no commission. So it was kind of the Wild West around here, where there wasn't people overseeing weigh-ins and all that stuff. It was just what the promoter did to make it not illegal. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's it. There was no people watching you wrap your hands, nothing like that. Now there's a lot more organization in that, but now they've passed this law, so they have to have a commission, but you can't do professional kickboxing. And no kids under 18 can fight amateur kickboxing either.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it, because there's a lot, because you get really good in those years.
Of course.
That's when you get really good.
If you can't, it's like saying you can't pick up a sport until 18.
Exactly.
Yeah. How are you ever going to be world class?
Exactly. You can't. You cannot. So they're limiting a lot of kids' opportunities to become the best in the world and to get really good to the point where it's not even that dangerous for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the less you allow them to fight when they're young, the more dangerous it's going to be when they do fight, because they're not as good as they could have been. Right? So, and that goes just hand in hand with that thing I was saying earlier, where kids do not have the incentive to become fighters, so instead they do something else. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, so it's basically just the way they interpret the law. That's it. That's 100%. So I fought in New Brunswick, professional, last year.
Okay.
It's not last year. Sorry.
New Brunswick of all places.
Yeah, December 2017. I fought in New Brunswick.
Okay.
On a small event, a really good event. It's called PKL, Professional Kickboxers League. Run by a guy called Andy Young. Super nice dude, like really nice. Should have bet New Brunswick, their commission's cool with it. The law's cool with it, because they have the exact same law. They just interpret it like, oh, you can do MMA, you can do kickboxing.
Obviously.
It's just they've got common sense. Here, they got no common sense. So we recently just, one of our friends, Phil Boutros, he made a petition to put some pressure on the commission and the government. So I think we got like 2,000 signatures close to in 2 days or so.
Wow.
Which is nice.
How many? What's the goal?
We're just going.
As many?
Keep going.
Cool.
You know,
well, this podcast will help.
I think with as many, you know, after a certain amount, the commissions gets emails, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
Plus, it's now in the media. It's there. People see it, right?
Right.
So
it's simply awareness.
It's
simply awareness,
and it just puts a bit of pressure on them. And there's a lot of people already have commented, "Oh, I had no idea."
Right.
From here, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even though I talk about it all the
I
time.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It made no sense to me.
No.
Is there any legality issues with this place?
No.
That's totally fine, right?
And the problem with this also is that it really limits the amount of sponsors I can have.
Of course.
Because there's a lot of sponsors that will, if I'm fighting here, they'll sponsor me, right? Because I'll advertise for them in where their shop
where the
or
demographic
where their thing
is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't do any good for someone who's a local company to sponsor me internationally. Because no one from Germany is coming to their restaurant.
Yeah, RYU doesn't care that you're fighting in Tokyo.
You know, of all people, they might, but some smaller companies might not, which are actual local companies. But if I'm fighting here in BC, sometimes they'll be
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know, let's say a car dealership.
Yeah.
You know, no one from Europe is buying a car from them, a local car dealership, but they are here.
Yeah.
So if I'm wearing their stuff on my shorts and advertising them here, someone down the street can go do it. You know what I mean? So the fact that I can't fight here, it limits my my income.
100%.
You know?
100%. Is that? I mean, a lot of guys won't go towards this because it's not feasible financially. I have no idea what a kickboxer's life is like. I have no idea. Like, obviously, you're at the highest level, so I don't want to use you as a benchmark. But let's say just a mid-tier, maybe just turned just turned pro rather, level fighter. Are they struggling financially? How are they how are they making this happen?
They're working probably.
Right.
They're working.
So you have to have a full-time job.
If you're that level, yeah. I mean. Yeah. Even me, I probably make the same amount as a guy who has a full-time job, a decent full. You know, maybe I make the same close to like yearly as like a journeyman plumber, maybe.
Right.
I'm not making obnoxious amounts of money.
Which is crazy because you're at the top. You're quite literally a world champion contender.
Yeah.
That is not
I still live
exaggeration.
With my parents. I still live with my parents, but wow. I mean, knowing how hard it is to get a house here. You know what I mean? You know, it's that might be a while.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah.
That literally blows my mind, especially with the level of entertainment that you're actually providing, the level of dedication. There's a big part, like for instance, when I see some split decisions go the wrong way for you, in my mind and in my heart, I'm just kind of like, fuck, because I feel as if in a way you're almost going to the back of the line. Is there truth in that, or is that just my assumption?
Not to the back of the line, especially if it was a good fight. Not to the back of the line, but you're definitely making less than you would have. And in the next fight, you're making less than you would have.
Totally.
And there's that sort of thing. And
you've worked your ass off for a whole training camp. How long is a typical training camp?
6 to 8 weeks. Or so.
6 to 8 weeks for half of what you would have.
You spend a lot of money in training camp. You know, I don't know if you guys touched on that with Cajun, but you spend a lot of money in training camp because you got to pay your strength conditioning coach, and if you're really really focused on it like I am, you're not working. I give up teaching for all those weeks, so I'm not making any money from teaching.
Right.
I got to pay. I got to obviously. It costs a lot to keep yourself fit
100%.
when it comes to recovery and stuff like that. You know, and you got to be taking care of all of that. It adds up, man.
No, 100% it adds up. Talk to me a little bit about your regiment. Like we've had Ironmen on, we've had professional basketball players, we've had UFC guys and whatnot. I'm really interested because I have this debate all the time. I'll say that fighters are the best athletes in the world because of their agility, their strength, their stabilization, hand-eye coordination, as well as conditioning. Like that is 360. You are the best athlete on the planet, in my opinion. Yeah. Now, a lot of people say maybe a wide receiver in football. Basketball players are great athletes as well. It's different. It's again I
think most athletes will say their guys are, but until they fight.
Right, no, 100%.
They say it until they fight, and then they're like, oh shit.
You're a guy that looks great in the fifth round, like that spinning side kick or whatever the hell that was. I mean, It looked like it was the first round, obviously, and you have, that's your job. I get it. That's literally 100% what you're focused on. But I mean, I do think that these fighters in particular are literally the best athletes in the world. Yeah. How does, and as a contender at the highest level of amongst the best athletes in the world, how do you 360 your approach to, I want to say, wellness, so I can leave that very open for you? How do you what pillars are in your mind, and how do you tackle those pillars?
Wellness. What do you mean by wellness then?
You could say
like my recovery and that sort of
stuff. You could say your recovery, your strength, your conditioning, your cardiovascular, your nutrition,
my training then in general.
Training, but even past that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do you have to optimize your mental health?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I'm just starting to get better at this. Yeah,
okay.
Like better at there's the training, plus there's all the other stuff too. Before, for me, it was just training. Nothing else really mattered that much except for training.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter what time I went to bed as long as I was up for training. That sort of thing. That's how my mind was before. Now it's a bit different. You know, I regularly go to physio, RMT.
Cool.
You know, at minimum once a week. Which isn't even that much, but it's expensive. And but you know, minimum once a week I'll go to RMT or get a massage. Plus, you know, I'm going to you know the isolation tanks. You know, I'm doing that every so often as well. At Salt over in South Surrey. Plus hyperbaric chamber. I'm doing that every so often as well.
Talk to me about the isolation tanks. Why do you go there?
Why? I haven't gone as much recently as I had before.
Actually, please explain what an isolation tank is for those that do not know.
Yeah, so it's basically it's a tank with, you know, like a foot of really very, very salty water, and it's warm water about the same body temperature as you, and you just float in it. It's completely closed, completely dark. You hear nothing, you see nothing, and you just float in there for about an hour and a half, or however long you want to do it. But some people find it difficult. I found it difficult right at first. I did. Not difficult, but it was a time where it got boring, you know. But once you get into it, and it's sort of a fast track to get into meditation. You have nothing else to worry about. Everything is off. You know, you have no distractions visually or
literally nothing.
Hearing. So everything's off. So you just you can think of whatever you want, or you just sort of meditate.
So what purpose does that serve for you?
For me, personally, meditation in general just clears my mind. It just clears my mind, and also it gives me an opportunity to focus on a game plan for me. Do
you try to go in and decode things while you're in there, or do you try
I don't decode nothing. I just try repeat to myself over and over the game plan, what the game plan is, because I'm the type of guy that I'll get excited in a fight. I'll get very excited, and that's why I've lost a few, is because I'll start. You know, they say you never hook with a hooker. I'll start hooking with these guys. You know what I mean? I'll start hooking with these dudes who are you know, who are hard punchers. You know what I mean? And I won't fight my game. I'll get drawn into their game and go, okay, you want to fight? Let's fight. Instead of me being a tactical guy, which I am, sticking to my tactics. You know? So for me, I have to drill into my head what the game plan is. Otherwise, I throw it out the window and I start fighting. You know, because I like to fight.
All of a sudden, it becomes a bar fight.
Yeah, exactly. I'm down with it. You know, I find that fun, but I don't always win that. You know, so it's like, you know, it's like, you know, think of if Mayweather just started, you know, throwing his defense out the window or started scrapping at people, he wouldn't be 50-0.
Would not be 50-0.
You know? So it's like, I didn't have the discipline that he had to actually listen to my corner, and I go, nah, you guys be quiet, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight this dude, you know. So now, for me now, it's just focusing on game plan, plan over and over and over. Just, you know, I've got a journal that I'll just write the game plan over and over and over every single day. I'll write the game plan every day. There's, you know, there'll be 30 pages by the time my fight comes around of just the game plan, written like an insane guy, just written like Bart Simpson on the chalkboard.
Yeah, that's where my mind went.
That's why it's every day when I've got a fight coming out.
Repetition.
Yeah, just to drill it into my head. So
that's what meditation does for you.
And then, you know, and I'll do that. I'll write and then I'll meditate, or I'll meditate and then I'll write, and I'll just do that sort of thing, just to get my mind completely focused on that. only on that, nothing else, you know.
What do you do for mobility, flexibility, and just general, overall, flexibility essentially?
Well,
how do you attack that?
I've got a strength conditioning coach. His name's
Okay.
Duncan Coleman. I've been working with him for about 6 years now.
Okay.
Since I was about 19, I started working with him, and he's really good actually. So we do strength conditioning and a lot of functional movement, mobility stuff. My flexibility is there.
Right.
I've been doing this since I was 3. Right?
Yeah. Dude, I don't think anybody's questioning you, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can kick a dude. I can't do the splits.
What?
But I can kick someone in the head.
That's surprising. That surprises me.
That's what most people think. You know,
Yeah.
even my brother's 5'5", and I seen him kick a guy in the head who's
Your brother's 5'5"?
Yeah.
How tall are you? 6 foot?
Close to a 5'11", 6 foot. And
bro, you hit the genetic
Yeah,
freaking
yeah.
jackpot,
Like
buddy.
that, yeah.
Like,
My parents are short too.
Wow.
My parents are really short.
You're made
too.
in a lab.
Yeah.
You're made in a lab.
Pretty much.
Damn.
And yes. Yeah, I lucked
Okay.
out.
All right, you lucked out.
But,
I like it.
Yeah, no, but like my brother, he can't even touch his toes. But I've seen him kick people in the head who are 6'5" without jumping. You know what I mean? So it's just technique. It's just, I don't know how he managed it, but he's done it.
So
you know?
Physics.
Yeah. But he you know, it's just technique. Really, is how you do it. So my flexibility is there for the most part. But yeah, it's just getting stable. You know, being stabilized, having always stabilizers strong, or the small muscles, the small things that nobody thinks about. You know, that's the type of thing that Duncan works on me with, and balance and.
Do you do any pool work, any sand work? Or anything like that?
I swim a lot.
Yeah.
I swim a lot. I swim not more than I run, but I swim at least once or twice a week every time. And
what type of stuff are you doing in the pool?
For the most part, I'm doing a lot of breathing stuff, and I'm doing at least a kilometer. I'm doing at least a kilometer of swimming, depending what way I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm either doing just 1,000 meters, or or maybe 1.25 kilometers. Changing up my breathing as I'm doing it. Certain amount of strokes per breath and that sort of thing. Changing that up.
Yeah.
Other times I'm doing like five rounds of 3 minutes, going as hard as I can, and then rest for a minute, then another 3 minutes, then rest for a minute, another 3 minutes, getting as many lengths as I can in.
Right.
Other times I'm swimming across the lake, or swimming across and back.
Yeah.
I got White Pine Beach or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
I can go across the beach or across the lake and that sort of thing. So it's just yeah, it's just getting in the work. You know what I mean? Just doing it. A lot of guys just don't do it, or they half-ass it. The thing is with me is that every training I do is I push it.
It's world class.
Is it world class? I don't know. I just why am I going to go there and then half-ass it? It's a waste of time. Half the time I don't want to be. I don't want to be at the pool, but it's like I'm here.
Yeah.
I have to be here.
Yeah.
So I might as well push it hard.
If you don't do it right, if you don't have time to do it right, when do you have time to do it again, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And then it will show in the fight, right? It will show in the fight, and then it'll show before the fight when you're not confident about the fight. You know what I mean? Like everyone's had that, where the fights where they haven't necessarily trained the hardest, and they're questioning themselves. And the confidence comes from preparation. It always does. It's a pretty cliche thing to say, but it's
still
100% true.
Cliches are cliches for a reason.
Exactly,
dude. I gotta ask you, man. Like, a lot of people go through life, and it's easy to wake up and go to an office, or wake up and go to a job. These are things you're going through the motions essentially, and. Life is very repetitive. You see Diane on Tuesdays, you see Joey on Thursdays when you go and play pickup basketball or whatever it is. This is just kind of a constant repetitive, and people try to find joy and happiness in things like family and things like just recreational hikes and things of this nature, right? When I think about a professional athlete, your world, it's hard for an average person, an average listener to this podcast, to even grasp what the fuck it is that you do and how you do that every day. Like, for instance, a lot, I'll go to the gym every day, but I'm not training to get locked into a cage with another man and to go after me. There's a disconnect there. How can you speak to like what your days are like, how your mind every day, like you're waking up, you're like, all right, I got strength and conditioning or maybe I got to go hit the pads at 9, and maybe I'm doing a three day today, and then a yoga session or whatever it is. That's constant straining. I have a fight coming up in 6 weeks, in 8 weeks. I'm waking up every day, day after day, day after day, day after day, just to get ready for this one man to try to beat him. That is so unrelatable to the average human.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Like, I think getting up and going to the gym when you don't have someone that's going to try to kick your ass is harder. Like, getting up and going to the gym for no reason besides your own health. I know that sounds, but like, I don't know. You don't notice yourself getting healthier necessarily. You know what I mean? You kind of, yeah, of course you see results and that sort of thing. Yeah. But I mean, it's I don't know. It's different. For me, it's like, okay, I got 8 weeks. This guy's going to be trying to knock my head off in 8 weeks.
And he's working.
I got to be training bloody hard this next 8 weeks. I got to be doing it. So it's like you have this quite short-term goal. You know what I mean? While a personal health goal is quite long-term. That's quite long-term. So I think that's harder to stick to than a fight, in my opinion. I think but the fighting intensity, the training of that is much higher. You can, it's much higher and gives you less chance, it gives you less chance to half-ass it for sure. Because it's not like, I'll do a harder workout tomorrow. No, you got to do a hard one today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the next 8 freaking weeks.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think, and for myself personally, I think it's easier for me to be motivated to go training because I've got a fight than because I just to go training for the heck of it. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, I'm pretty bad with going and doing strength conditioning by myself. I need my trainer there because I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy strength conditioning. I don't enjoy doing weights. It's not fun for me. Yeah. But so to do that, if I didn't have a fight, or for people who aren't fighting, they're just going to the gym but they don't like the gym, that'd be quite hard. You know what I mean?
I'm grasping your concept, but
you're an athlete too. So training is in your blood. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's in your blood, and but I don't know. I enjoy the fact I like having a fight, and I also like not having a fight. At the same, if it makes sense, because I can be almost two different people.
Wow.
Which is and it's nice to have that balance of the two. You know, when I'm training for a fight, I'm strict. Everything is this way. You know, I mean, like everything. I'm training. My training is like this. Bam, 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 bam. I can say no to certain things, and and not feel bad about no, I got a fight. Sorry, I'm not doing that. I'm not coming to this, and I can do that, and that's sort of and there's that part, and I like the fact that I feel myself getting stronger and better, and all that stuff, and progress. Better, and I feel it in sparring, especially just like getting sharper and sharper and sharper more than anything, But then also I like the point when I don't have a fight and I get to just like. I'll put my alarm for at 6:30 in the morning for 8 a.m. training, and then I'll go, nah, not today. There'll be times when I don't have a fight where I can do that sometimes. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, not in training camp.
Not in training camp. Never in training camp. There's not a day I skip. But there's sometimes where I will, and when I don't have training camp.
So does your girlfriend like you more when you have a fight or when you don't have a fight?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't. She's very supportive. She's very supportive, and so she helps me out a lot when I've got a fight. Like and she'll come hang out with me a lot too. Like we'll go get massages together.
Awesome.
Rather than I'm just I got to go for my massage. No, we'll go get couples massages. And that sort of thing, and we'll do some stuff like that together. But she's just like, it's been this way all the time. Whenever I've ever had a girlfriend or not, I've always let them know that this comes first. You know what I mean? So.
That's a tough conversation to have, but
I don't find it hard. I don't find it tough. For me, it's not. I think some guys find it tough. Definitely, some guys find it tough because there's some dudes who are late to the gym because their girlfriend wanted to come with them and she's put on her makeup. And it's like, no, man, you leave her at home. You leave her at home and you come to the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't at all. And so it's quite easy for me. It's like, no, that's not happening. I'm not skipping training on Saturdays to go for brunch. I'll go for training in the morning though, and then I'll go for brunch after. No problem. I'll work around it, but I'm not skipping anything. I'm not going to lie in bed with you for a while. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? But I can do that when I don't have a fight. But when I do, it's on 100%. And I think any good girlfriend, or in the reverse situation, a good partner,
Yeah.
they would. I would expect them to like that. To see someone,
of course.
To know someone who's. Some people you'd be surprised to see that a lot of people don't, but they can't handle. They can't handle it.
Try
but
not to work with those people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they can't handle it because I don't know, they're jealous or what, but they want you all for themselves. But I would prefer to have a driven person who's wants you to push yourself and
be the best you can be.
Yeah, exactly.
No, totally,
that's best, and I think that's what every athlete, every person needs that. Because if someone's going to sit there and just be complacent with you, that's no good.
I mean, that's the same thing. We just go back to how an average person trains at the gym. You don't want a person that's going to be complacent with you. Sometimes I look at myself as in, like, my logical self is one person that's like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this, or you're going to overtrain, or you don't need to do this because you're not going to go run a marathon. Like, you're training for yourself, you're training for life, But in my mind, it's just like, hey, if I slip, or if I don't go till failure on this set, or I don't do the initial 10 and 10 sprinting that I set out, so it doesn't do, like, that's just one slip. And in my mind, it takes something I say to myself is that it takes any one person 3 slips, 3 consecutive slips. And
I think if you let yourself do it once, you're gonna let yourself do it again,
and that's it.
Once you let yourself do it once, you'll let yourself do it again because you realize it wasn't that bad that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't. It wasn't the end of the world because you did that. So the best is to just never do that. Always stay on. And if you put that, like you said, like, you got to do 10 sprints, you do 10 sprints, maybe you even do 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Push yourself one.
But it never goes down.
How do you feel at 10? You feel okay? Do another one.
Yeah. Did you sell yourself short? Like, that's
exactly.
it, right?
Never do that. Unless you've got a trainer going, you know what, that's enough for today.
Yeah.
Then you listen to them.
It's better to be held back that way than try to be pushed up the other way. Absolutely. It's paramount. It's paramount. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? For sure. I can't even. It's such a great tell. Like, I work in business and investing, and so many people will go out like, let's go play basketball with this guy, let's go golf with this guy, because based off the way that it doesn't even have to be an endurance sport, but just based off their small mannerisms in this way, we can tell whether or not we want to move forward with this person in something completely unrelated, right? Sure. And I love seeing those tells. Even if, on the first podcast, Kevin Hahn interviewed me, and he was like, we were talking about discipline, and I was like, listen, man, I won't even hang out with you if you're the type of the guy that, like, the back of your shoes is squished in, because I know that you just don't have the mental fortitude to unfucking lace your shoes every time and put them back on. And if you can't do that,
then you're gonna slack everywhere else too.
Like, I can't have a conversation with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's no. And I used to be very judgmental on that, and now I'm kind of like, listen, you're living your life a certain way, and I'm living my life a different way, and that's cool, but I don't want those two to interchange, right? Because that's the type of mindset I need to continually be in just to succeed in life, not necessarily in a certain discipline, but just generally, I want to be an Olympic level person, right?
That's a good point. That's the way you're saying saying how one thing does have to do with the other. You think it doesn't, but it does. And I never thought that one thing had to do with the other when I was younger. But as you get older, you start seeing, hey, this guy did it like this here, and he did it here, and he did it. There's a pattern, you know what I mean? And you see it like that. And my old boss. When I was plumbing, I remember he said, because he used to come and we trained every Friday together. When I wasn't working for him, before I was working for him, and then after I was working for him. Because when I was working for him, I was too busy at work to train him. Right. But I remember he said something to me once. He's like the head of a contracting or a plumbing company, Right. And he said he went to go try work a deal with this guy, and he was like, hey. The guy said to him, he said, hey, you ever mess around on your wife a little bit? Like maybe you're trying to get him to say something. And he was like, no, sir, I never have. He's like, good. He's like, if you said you did, I wouldn't do business with you. Because if you're gonna fuck over the person that is supposed to trust you the most, and you're supposed to be in love with, of course you're gonna fuck me over too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that really
wow.
That went bing in my head, because it's true. Like that's the one person you've committed your life to, and you're gonna fuck around on them.
Yeah. Who am I to them?
So I'm just some dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not gonna fuck around me. Of course you're gonna do something.
Yeah. I love it.
I really, when he told me that really stuck out in my head, and sort of changed the way I just do a lot of things. You know what I mean? Just to change the way, why, you know, it was very hard to explain how that sort of
totally
changed my mindset, mind. You know, but it's just true. And you'll see guys who slack in training, they'll slack in the fight.
No.
Guys who quit in training, they will quit in a fight.
Wow.
You know, and you can see that. And me and my brother see a lot of it. He's a quitter.
Wow.
You watch. Boom, fight comes, quits. You know what I mean? You see? You know, as soon as the going gets tough, they'll quit. You know what I mean? And
no.
Yeah, and that takes a different guy. It takes a different sort of person.
Mm-hmm.
And
how did like, for instance, you're someone that you've had a lane or a road set out for you because of the legacy of your father, right? In the sense of
I wouldn't say so.
A direction, no? No, not at all.
No. I could have done whatever I wanted.
There was no push?
No.
Wow.
No. The only push was to be active.
Shout out to your dad.
Yeah, the only push was to be active.
Wow.
You know, I even wish he did push me a little harder.
Right.
You know.
Where I meant to go with that was, you know, you had a moral template. So for instance, like I didn't grow up with parental figures, and so you just kind of, you either figure it out or you don't. You either pick it up from people in your community or no, you don't. You kind of had a foundation set with good parenting.
Yeah.
Excuse me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
no.
And you had a moral compass to guide you and then pick these things up along the way, right?
Sure.
Where a lot of people don't have that. How do you find that in a kid, in a student, in an amateur boxer, where you're like, you know what, you have the intangibles? Is it just a sense, or is there?
I don't think you don't need that. You can develop that, or people can just, or they can not have that and still be good fighters and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough. My parents are very ethical, moral people. You know what I mean? Like they'll always, if you know, like they sell themselves short because they don't want to put anyone else.
Of course.
They'll like, we've probably got the cheapest gym in BC.
Right.
Even though my dad's probably got the most credentials of most
with the
trainers,
top fighter,
you know, but we got the cheap because my dad doesn't. I can't charge people that much.
Right.
You know what I mean? He feels bad about it. Basically taking food off his own table because he doesn't want to, you know, take food off other people's table. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, he's you know, and that's just the way things are. Like there's been times where I've gotten overpaid. Someone overpaid me by accident. And I'm like, hey, they overpaid me. They didn't even notice. And they're like, you gonna tell them? And I was like, well, it's kind of their problem. Like, no, it's not their problem. It's your problem. That's karma. So you got to tell them, shit. Okay, fine. So I tell them, and they appreciate it, and I feel appreciated that they appreciate what I say. So like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it like this. You know what I mean? Like it
totally.
Yeah, you know, they say it's karma. It's karma. Okay, fine. So I think it has to be taught because a lot of people, you know, I think right out the womb, you want to try to get things your way. You know, kids. You look at kids; they're not very.
Give me this. Give me that.
Children are not empathetic.
Absolutely.
It's not something you're born with. You have to learn that. Children are. They'll hurt you to get something. They'll scream in your ear until you give them something. They're not empathetic at all. So if you're not taught that, you're not going to have it. Yeah, you know, and luckily I've been taught it, and I've also just sort of developed it as well. Right?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, and I think it's really prevalent. Like the community knows. Yeah. It's not. You can't put it down on a resume, but people know.
Yeah, it's a reputation thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, you just do it and you don't talk about it too much.
Yeah.
And it's just and you didn't fuck anyone over. Which is nice.
And it's your, you can sleep at night. It's your mentality. You won't have regrets when you're 80. You know what I mean?
The only trouble is when other people do it to you and you're like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, but
you know, like.
You know what?
That's the annoying part, though.
Sure. I get that. I mean, I hate when people stand on the moral high ground when their true core beliefs and actions don't necessarily go that way. I'd much rather have it reversed. And that's the way it's always been taught to me, where it's just like, yeah, you can do X, Y, and Z and try to create all that karma for yourself and try to foster, you know, just goodwill and good energy and pay it forward and yada, yada, yada. But that's for you to seek the benefits of internally. It's not for you to push out. Like, as in, I don't need to be talking about X, Y, or Z. Like, you know, I've had friends that, you know, I'll call, in high school, and I'll be, hey, listen, like, my car broke down, can you come grab me? And they'll be like, no worry, like, I'm in Vancouver, I'm from the island originally, and they'll be like, you know what, I'm out of town, but, where are you at? I'll call a tow truck, and I'll get you that tire, and whatever, don't call. But I've never ever heard from those people or say that publicly or anything like that, and those are the people that, like, for instance, like that, no amount of, nothing can stand higher for me personally. Nothing can beat that.
Well, especially in this day and age with everyone posting everything on social media, they don't do anything good without having to post about it.
Oh my gosh, and the whole, oh my gosh, don't get me started. Like, that's the publicly supporting causes is great. Like, yes, you're still supporting the cause, but like you didn't have to go like that way, or funding initiatives and publicizing the hell out of it. Yes, you did this charity event, but you also hired 30 photographers to be there. That says something, right? Sure. And building that into your branding, like mixed feelings there. Totally a different conversation, though. Obviously, the way that you guys have branded and built this up is something completely different. Man, I gotta ask you, how does the way I see this sport, and the way I see you attack people, and the way I see fighters in general it's bloodthirst, but it's not. It's the weirdest contrast of respect and I'm gonna fucking kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just this weird push and pull. And I'm trying to figure out how a world-class fighter like yourself puts himself in the mindset in the coming week, in the coming day, or even in the coming hours before going into a ring. I try to psych myself up when I'm going into intense training or interval training just to lock into a mode. And sometimes I have a hard time getting there. How do you get yourself to that spot?
Well, kind of every fight, I often feel a different way, sort of thing. So it goes with the feeling of the fight, what I got to do to get myself into that place, and also depends where I want to be in that fight. Do I want to smash it? Like, is the game plan to smash this dude, or is the game plan to outpoint this dude? If my game plan is to smash this dude and destroy him, then maybe I got to hype myself up a little bit. If my game plan is to outpoint him, maybe I got to keep myself calm. You know what I mean? So it's things like that. But for the most part, to get into the mode is mostly, like I said earlier, meditation. Just trying to. For me, it's not getting. I don't need help getting into the mode. I'm sort of. I know what I'm going to do. This is what I've been doing forever. I know I'm going to fight. It's no problem. For me, it's mostly just keeping my cool, keeping
composure,
keeping calm, and also just following the game plan and just trying to be cool with what is going to happen, what could happen in the fight. You know what I mean? So I got to sit there and I got to visualize the fight, the outcome, the things that could happen, the trouble I could get put in, the trouble, if I put him into trouble, what am I going to do? What happens if I win? What happens if I lose? That sort of thing. How am I going to feel? How am I going to react? That sort of thing. So I try to visualize and meditate a lot on that. Before a fight, I try to just inspire myself. I try to have something to inspire me. So most of the time, the song that I come out to, it's something that does something for me.
That's crazy,
right? It's not a thing. I've had a couple of fights where I've just done it for the crowd, like something that I think the crowd will like. And I don't think that's been the best for me. I got away with it when I was younger too, but for the most part, it's always a song that either gets me going,
What are your top 2-3 songs come out to?
It changes, man. It changes. It's been way so many more than that throughout the years, and some people are like, oh, you should stick to one and get a trademark going. But I could do that, but then after a couple times using it, I don't feel it anymore.
You don't feel the same way.
I don't feel it anymore. Every so often there'll be a song that you listen to and you just play it over and over and over until you kill it. But in that time while you're playing it, you love it. It's the best song you could, and it just gets some sort of emotion out of you. Right? That's the song I use. I'll use any song that does that. They get some sort of emotion going out of me. So, whether it be, it makes me just want to dance, it makes me tear up or something like that, gets me going like that, or
crazy.
Just any sort of thing like that. So
what have you come out to? Give me some names. What songs have you come out to? You've come out to.
So, when I was younger, in my amateur days, I came out to Dizzy Rascal Dance With Me, and that's back when I used to just dance to the ring. I would just dance to the ring every time, and that's
super playful.
That's what got me going. You know, it was just dancing to the ring because when in the ring, I would use my footwork and movement, head movement, and I played to the crowd a lot. It was a lot of fun. As things started getting a bit more serious, as I went professional and all that, I started using sometimes a little bit harder songs. But when I started using the harder songs, it made me fight too hard.
Right, too aggressive.
Too aggressive. Yeah. So I started chilling out a little bit, and lately I've been using Born Slippy by Underground.
Okay.
And
I like it.
Underworld.
Yeah.
And you know, like from Train Spotting.
Okay.
And that song's been getting me going because it sort of, for some reason, it reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I think my sister used to play it a lot when I was a kid, and it I don't know, it really inspires me to just. I don't even know.
Just emotions.
Yeah, there was one fight I had in Paris a couple of years ago. I think it was the year. Was it the year? No, it was a couple of years after my granddad died. But it was one of his favorite songs. It was by Gypsy Kings, called Volare.
Okay.
And in Paris, so I've got an uncle in Paris, an uncle in London, and an uncle in Sweden. They're all my mum's brothers.
Yeah.
They all came to Paris to watch the fight. And so my mum and all her siblings were there, and we're very close with them, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I had all of them at one fight, and then I played their dad's favorite song, and I didn't tell anybody beforehand what song I was going to be playing. And my brother wasn't at the fight; he couldn't come, so he was at home just watching on telly. And when that song came on, I felt so good. You know, it was really good. And then I heard after the fight, my mum was crying in the stands. Wow. My brother was crying back here in Canada. Everybody over there, everybody was just like, the family knew. Nobody else knew.
What a moment.
Yeah, no one else knew, but we knew.
Doesn't
you know what I mean?
matter.
And I fought so good, man.
Wow.
I smashed the dude. He barely touched me.
Yeah.
And
wow.
So it's just little things like that for me that get me going, you know. So you know,
very cool.
If you're an opponent and you hear a certain song, you have to be curious about what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Because for me it does play a factor. You know, the song depends. It might affect how I fight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Totally. Josh, listen. I know you gotta get out of here. You have commitments. We gotta get out of here. But I could literally go on and on for days and days.
Yeah, probably
me
too, actually.
And you're a pleasure you're obviously a very intellectual and sophisticated, and you can hold yourself very well. Kickboxing appreciates that, I'm sure, and the community appreciates that. As a whole, I know we're going to try to do our best to try to, get that petition out there and try to propel this a little bit, because there's a couple things that are just preposterous, and the fact that the UFC MMA and boxing are sanctioned, and this is not, is atrocious. And so the more we can propel figures like yourself to the forefront, we're all for it.
Yeah.
And that's frankly a large part of why we wanted to have you, and thank you for coming and having this conversation. I really appreciate it. I want to sit down with you when you get the belt. Let's
thanks,
do it.
man. Yeah,
I mean,
I would like to as well. I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing, getting some ears on and eyes on what I'm trying to do in the sense of making this, it seems like a small issue for most people because it doesn't matter to most people, but this is my job. And if plumbing was illegal and you're a plumber, it kind of sucks.
It would matter.
You can't do your work, you know what I mean? So for me, this is, it's a big issue for me and people like me. And so I appreciate you guys coming, listening, and having a chat and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's wicked.
Josh, thank you, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.